Source: this reading was created by combining information from the following sources: The Emergence of African American Culture, Jubilee by the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture at the New York Public Library and Ready for a Linguistic Controversy? Sameham by Kumari Devarajan for NPR, 2018. People in the African continent spoke thousands of languages during the slavery era. People from the same ethnic or national group who spoke the same language could communicate with one another. If they were to communicate with Africans from other cultural or linguistic families, or with those who held them captive and controlled their lives, a new linguistic strategy was necessary. Over time, they created a dialect known as Creole, which combined versions of the colonial languages with their West African roots. These Creole languages became the foundation of the languages African people speak throughout the Americas today. Songs, folk tales, and certain literature of ordinary African people are spoken, written, and sung in these Creole languages. The presence of these African vernacular languages also transformed the European languages spoken by whites in the Americas. The word mem can be used as an example to explain how simple, everyday words used today were created by enslaved Africans. What's a word you use 100 times a day that doesn't show up in the dictionary? Give up. Mem. You got it. Mem is a small word that's often used unconsciously. But it can actually tell us a lot about language and the transatlantic slave trade. Once upon a time, English speakers didn't say mem. But Africans did, according to Robert Thompson, an art history professor at Yale University, who studies Africa's influence on the Americas. In a 2008 documentary, Thompson said the word spread from enslaved Africans into Southern Black language, and from there into Southern White language. He says white Americans used to say yay and yes. As for mem? That, he says, is African. When enslaved people spoke African languages, it often instilled fear in Southern plantation owners. That's according to John Rickford, a linguistics professor at Stanford University. He says plantation owners worried that the slaves were plotting against them. Because of that, slaves were forced to speak English exclusively. However, in order to preserve their language, enslaved Africans used words that could pass as English and mask their ancestry. Some of those words scholars have been able to trace. When enslaved Africans arrived in the U.S., they picked up English words from their owners, and then organized those words based on the grammar they already knew, creating many phrases that are still used today.